Welcome back to the channel Top Coin, everyone. Today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating world of American coins and focus on one coin that often goes unnoticed in pockets and jars but has a surprising history and potential value. We are talking about the 1986 1-cent coin from the United States of America, the penny that features Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Many people believe it is just an ordinary coin worth only 1 cent, but as you are about to learn, some of these coins are worth far more than face value. Stay with me until the end because I will also share the current market prices collectors are paying and the reasons why certain 1986 pennies are worth a lot of money. Let us start with the history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, first introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first regular issue coin from the United States Mint to feature a real historical figure instead of symbolic images like Liberty. By 1986 the design had been circulating for decades, showing the familiar portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse side at that time you would find the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. designed by Frank Gasparro, a design that started in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Now what makes the 1986 penny particularly interesting is the era in which it was struck. Just a few years earlier in 1982 the United States Mint changed the composition of the cent. Before that year, pennies were made mostly of copper, about 95% copper and 5% zinc. But starting in the middle of 1982 the mint shifted to a cheaper composition of mostly zinc with only a thin copper plating. The reason was rising copper prices which made the metal in the coin worth more than the coin itself. So by 1986 every penny was made from this new copper-plated zinc planchet. That means if you have a 1986 penny, it should weigh around 2.5 grams instead of the older heavier copper cents that weighed 3.1 grams. Even though the majority of 1986 pennies are made of zinc and produced in the billions, collectors are always on the hunt for special varieties and errors. Errors can turn a simple 1-cent coin into something worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For example, off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned, double dies where the details appear double due to a mistake in the die-making process, or coins struck on the wrong planchet are all extremely valuable. If a 1986 penny was accidentally struck on an older copper planchet left over from previous years, that coin could be worth a small fortune today because it would be a rare transitional error. Let us talk mint marks. In 1986 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint which carries no mint mark under the year, at the Denver Mint which carries a D mint mark, and at the San Francisco Mint which produced proof coins with an S mint mark. Proof coins from San Francisco were specially made for collectors with mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. These proof cents are already more desirable than circulation strikes and depending on their grade and condition can bring in much higher prices on the market. Condition plays a major role in value. A circulated 1986 penny that has been in pockets and cash registers for years is usually only worth face value unless it carries an error. But uncirculated examples, those that were never used and still have their original mint luster, can be worth several dollars each, especially if graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. The highest grades such as Mint State 67 or Mint State 68 can sell for significant amounts because they are so difficult to find without scratches, dings, or marks. Let me give you some real numbers. In today's market, a regular 1986 penny in average circulated condition is worth 1 cent. But if you have an uncirculated coin, prices typically range from $1 to $5 depending on the grade. High-grade Mint State examples can bring in $20 or more. Proof coins with the S mint mark can be worth around $3 to $5 for common examples, but in perfect condition they can sell for much higher amounts. Some error coins from 1986 have sold for hundreds of dollars. For instance, a double-die obverse penny showing doubling in the lettering of In God We Trust or Liberty could be worth several hundred. Off-center strikes with clear missing areas can also fetch high premiums. Collectors today pay close attention to 1986 cents because this was a time when the zinc composition was still relatively new, and quality control at the mint sometimes allowed mistakes to slip through. That means if you have a jar of old pennies at home, it is worth checking each 1986 carefully under a magnifying glass. Look for any unusual features, doubling, missing letters, or even unusual weight differences. If your coin weighs 3.1 grams, you may have a rare copper transitional planchet that could sell for thousands at auction. The market for Lincoln cents remains strong. There are millions of collectors building complete sets of Lincoln pennies from 1909 to the present, and each date and mint mark is part of that puzzle. Even though 1986 may seem common, demand for pristine examples keeps prices rising. In the last few years, top-graded 1986 pennies certified by grading companies have achieved impressive auction results. Some Mint State 68 red examples have sold for over $100, a huge jump from their 1-cent face value. So what is the takeaway here? The 1986 United States 1-cent coin is not just pocket change. It represents a moment in history when America had fully switched to zinc-based cents, and it offers collectors opportunities to find valuable varieties. Most are worth only a penny, but if you discover an error, a proof in perfect condition, or a rare transitional copper strike, you could be holding a coin worth far more than you imagine. Before you toss that coin back into circulation, take a moment to check it. Weigh it, examine it under light, and research its details. You might just have a hidden treasure sitting in your change jar. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the 1986 1-cent coin from the United States of America. If you enjoyed this breakdown of history, value, and market prices, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video about rare and valuable coins. Share this with your friends who collect coins or who might have old pennies lying around. Who knows, maybe they have a 1986 gem waiting to be discovered. Stay tuned for more videos where we explore coins worth a lot of money and reveal the hidden value in everyday change. Until next time, happy collecting and keep searching. Today we are diving deep into the world of coin collecting and numismatics. And let me tell you, you are going to love this one because we are talking about one of the most fascinating modern-era coins in circulation. I am talking about the 1993 1-cent coin from the United States of America. That's right, the Lincoln Memorial cent that so many people have probably held in their hands without realizing that some examples can be worth a lot more than just a single penny. Now, before we jump into the values and the rare errors that can bring in big money, let's take a step back and appreciate the history of this coin. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The designer was Victor David Brenner, and the coin originally carried his initials on the reverse, which sparked a bit of controversy at the time. Over the years, the coin has gone through several design changes, but the portrait of Abraham Lincoln has always remained on the obverse side. By 1959, the reverse design was changed from the wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This memorial reverse was used all the way until 2008. The year 1993 sits right in the middle of this Lincoln Memorial cent era. At first glance, the 1993 penny may seem ordinary, but to collectors it is anything but ordinary. Millions were minted, but only a fraction survive today in pristine condition. The United States Mint struck these coins at 3 facilities in that year. The Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, the Denver Mint with a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which struck proof coins with the S mint mark. Now let's talk about composition. By 1993, the cent had already gone through a major change in its metal content. Before 1982, cents were made mostly of copper. But because copper became too expensive, the mint switched to a copper-plated zinc planchet. So the 1993 penny is technically made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. It still looks like a classic copper coin, but under the surface it is mostly zinc. What makes the 1993 cent interesting to collectors are the conditions and the errors. Circulated examples of this coin are usually only worth face value. But uncirculated examples in high mint state grades can fetch impressive amounts of money. For instance, coins graded MS67 red or higher by PCGS or NGC have been known to sell for hundreds of dollars. That is a huge return on a 1-cent piece. The record prices get even more exciting when you look at proof coins struck in San Francisco. A 1993 South Proof Center in PR70 Deep Cameo, which is the perfect grade, has sold for well over $1,000 in auctions. Collectors will pay top dollar for that perfect flawless mirror-like coin because so few exist, but the real treasure hunt comes with error coins. Every now and then the mint produces coins with mistakes, and these mistakes are highly sought after. Double die obverse coins where the lettering or date appears doubled can bring in serious money. Off-center strikes where part of the design is missing are also valuable. Broad struck coins, coins struck on the wrong planchet, and clipped planchet errors can also turn a common 1993 penny into a rarity worth far more than face value. So how much are these coins worth in today's market? As of right now, a regular 1993 penny in circulated condition is still worth just 1 cent. But if you have one in mint state red condition graded MS66, it could sell for between $30 and $60. If you have an MS67 red, the value can climb into the hundreds. And that elusive MS68 red coin is worth thousands of dollars. Proof coins in perfect PR70 deep cameo condition are also in the high hundreds to low thousands range. The key takeaway here is that not all 1993 pennies are valuable, but the condition and any possible mint errors can make an enormous difference. That means if you have a jar of old pennies sitting around, it is definitely worth your time to go through them carefully. You might just find one of these hidden gems. Another interesting detail about the 1993 penny is that even though it is a relatively modern coin, finding high-grade examples is surprisingly difficult. Zinc cents are notorious for developing spots, corrosion, and surface problems because zinc does not age as well as pure copper. That means collectors prize the few coins that have survived the last 30 years in pristine condition. Now let's touch on the market trends. Over the past decade, modern cents have gained more attention in the collector community. Years ago, most people only focused on the wheat cents from 1909 through 1958. But now more and more collectors are starting to build full sets, including the memorial cents and the shield cents that came after 2010. This growing demand is pushing up the value of high-grade coins from the 1990s. Auction records continue to be broken whenever a new top pop coin comes to market. So what does this mean for you? It means the 1993 cent might not just be spare change in your pocket. It could be a collectible asset worth holding onto. If you are a beginner collector, the best strategy is to look for coins with original mint red luster, no spots, and no scratches. If you believe you have a top quality coin, it may be worth submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC because certified grades command much higher prices in the marketplace. Now let's recap the highlights before we wrap up. The 1993 United States 1 cent coin was struck at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. It is made of copper-plated zinc and features the classic Lincoln memorial reverse. Most examples are only worth face value, but in high grades they can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Proof coins in perfect condition are especially valuable. Error coins like double dies and off-center strikes are also highly collectible. And the overall market trend is moving upward as more collectors show interest in these modern-era coins. So the next time you come across a 1993 penny, don't just toss it in your change jar. Take a closer look. You might be holding a coin worth a lot of money. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the fascinating world of coins, currency, and collectibles. And don't forget to leave a comment below if you have ever found a rare penny in your change. Who knows, your story might be featured in one of our upcoming videos. Until next time, happy collecting and may your pocket change always bring you treasure. Today we are diving deep into a very fascinating subject, the 1 cent coin from the year 1995 issued in the United States of America. This little piece of copper-plated zinc might seem ordinary at first glance, but believe me when I say that this coin hides secret stories and in some cases even big money. Let us start with a bit of background. The 1 cent coin, also known as the Lincoln penny, has been one of the most iconic and longest-running coins in the history of American currency. It was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin has carried the portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side for over a century. By 1995, the coin had already been in circulation for 86 years, and during that year millions upon millions of them were struck. Now here is the interesting part: not all coins are created equal. While the regular 1995 1 cent coins may just be worth their face value, there are certain varieties and errors that make collectors go wild. Some of these pieces can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity, demand, and condition. The most famous variety from 1995 is known as the 1995 double die obverse. This is where things get exciting. A double die happens when the die used to strike the coin has a misalignment or doubling of the design. When that die strikes a blank planchet, the design comes out double. The 1995 double die penny is one of the most dramatic examples. You can clearly see doubling in the inscriptions "In God We Trust, Liberty" and the date 1995. The doubling is bold, strong, and very visible even without magnification. This makes it one of the most popular modern era coins for collectors. When this coin was first discovered, collectors were thrilled because dramatic double dies are more commonly associated with earlier years, like the famous 1955 double die penny or the 1972 double die penny. The 1995 version brought the same excitement into the modern era. Tens of thousands of examples entered circulation, and coin collectors quickly started searching their pocket change, hoping to strike it rich. Now let us talk about value. The regular 1995 penny without errors is very common. More than 8 billion coins were minted in Philadelphia and more than 4 billion in Denver. That means unless you find one in pristine uncirculated condition, the regular coins are just worth 1 cent. However, if you find a high-grade example certified by professional grading companies such as PCGS or NGC, the value can rise. A perfect mint state 1995 penny can bring anywhere from a few dollars up to $20 or $30 depending on its grade and luster, but the real treasure is the 1995 double die obverse. Depending on condition, this coin can range from around $20 in circulated grades all the way up to several $100 in mint state. Examples in the highest grades like MS67 or MS68 red. The coin has sold at auction for over $1,000. Imagine finding a penny in your change and realizing it could pay for your rent, groceries, or even a vacation. Collectors especially love the fact that this double die error is easy to spot. You do not need special equipment, just your own eyes. That is why many people to this day still check every 1995 penny they come across, hoping to find the double die treasure. Another aspect that adds to the fascination is the historical moment. The mid-1990s was a time when the U.S. Mint had shifted fully into using copper-plated zinc planchets rather than the older solid copper pennies, which ended in 1982. So these coins represent the modern era of American coinage. They are lighter, cheaper for the mint to produce, but they also corrode more easily, which makes pristine examples even more sought after. Now let us touch on the market today. In recent years, coin collecting has experienced a huge boom. People have become more interested in rare coins and era varieties thanks to social media, videos, and auctions. The demand for the 1995 double die penny has stayed strong. Prices for certified examples in red mint state have remained high and in some cases have even increased. If you go on popular auction websites, you will find that collectors are still willing to pay big money for this coin, especially if it comes with professional certification. What should you look for if you want to hunt down one of these coins? First, check every 1995 penny you have. Pay attention to the words "In God We Trust." The doubling is most obvious there. It almost looks like the letters are shadowed or slightly overlapping. Next, look at Liberty and the date 1995. If you see clear doubling, you may have a winner. Condition matters a lot, so if you do find one, handle it carefully. Do not clean it because cleaning can damage the coin and lower its value. Instead, place it in a coin flip or holder and consider sending it to a grading company. Another tip is to check rolls of pennies from banks. Coin roll hunting has become a popular hobby, and people still discover error coins hiding in rolls that have been overlooked for decades. Who knows, the next time you pick up a roll of pennies, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So to recap, the 1995 1-cent coin might be small, but it carries a big story. The regular coins are extremely common and generally worth face value unless they are in uncirculated high-grade condition. But the 1995 double die obverse penny is the star of the show, a coin that can transform from a simple cent into a collectible worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Its story connects history, era collecting, and the thrill of the hunt. If you have a jar of old pennies sitting around at home, now is the time to go through it. Look carefully at every 1995 penny. You never know what treasure you might uncover. That little coin could be more than just pocket change. It could be a piece of numismatic history and a valuable addition to your collection. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed learning about the history and value of the 1995 1-cent coin, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins and currency stories. Drop a comment below if you have ever found a valuable penny or if you plan on searching your change after this video. Until next time, happy collecting and may your next coin find be worth a fortune. We are going to dive deep into the fascinating story of the 1999 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln penny. This tiny copper-coated coin might look ordinary to most people, but for collectors and coin enthusiasts, it holds much more than face value. This is not just a piece of pocket change, it is history, art, and sometimes even a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered in your loose change jar. Now, before we jump into the values and the exciting market updates, let us first rewind the clock and Look at the origins and the story behind this coin. In 1909, the United States Mint first introduced the Lincoln cent to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Lincoln was the very first real person to appear on an American coin, and since then the penny has become a symbol of both history and tradition in American coinage. The 1999 version that we are focusing on today still carried the classic Lincoln Memorial design, which had been in circulation since 1959. This design shows the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. This design remained until the year 2008. Now, when it comes to the 1999 penny, there were three major mint locations producing them: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark. Denver coins are marked with a small letter D, and San Francisco coins were struck as proof coins and marked with an S. It is important to know the difference because the mint mark can have a huge impact on the rarity and the value of the coin. Let us talk numbers. In 1999, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 8 billion pennies, the Denver Mint struck more than 6 billion, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins in much smaller quantities. When you have billions of coins produced, it is easy to think that these coins are not rare, but the truth is rarity does not only come from the number produced, it also comes from condition, quality, errors, and collector demand. This is where things get really interesting. You see, not all 1999 pennies are created equal. Most pennies you find in circulation are only worth 1 cent, but there are special varieties and errors that can make them worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to collectors. One of the most famous examples is the 1999 wide AM penny. On most Lincoln Memorial cents from the 1990s, the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse are very close together, but in 1999 a small number of coins were struck with a different reverse die used mainly for proof coins. In this variety, the A and M are spaced farther apart. This is what collectors call the wide AM variety, and it can be very valuable. So what are we talking about in terms of value? A regular 1999 penny in average circulated condition is only worth face value, but if you happen to find a 1999 wide AM penny, it could be worth anywhere from $500 to as much as $5,000 depending on the grade. Coins in high mint state grades with sharp details, no scratches, and beautiful luster are always more valuable. In fact, some high-grade examples of the 1999 wide AM have been sold at major auctions for several $1,000s. Imagine finding one of those in your pocket change. But that is not the only variety. There are also double die obverse errors where the lettering or the date looks doubled under magnification. These types of errors can be extremely collectible, and their values can range from $50 to several $100 depending on the sharpness of the doubling and the condition of the coin. And let us not forget proof coins from San Francisco. While most proof coins are common in modern times, high-grade deep cameo proofs can still bring a premium to collectors who love shiny mirrored finishes. Now let us talk about the market today. Coin collecting is hotter than ever, and the value of certain pennies, especially error varieties, continues to rise. People love the thrill of treasure hunting, and many new collectors have entered the hobby looking for coins like the 1999 wide AM penny. In circulation, coin shows and auctions often highlight these modern rarities, and that pushes demand even higher. So what is the current market value? If you walk into a coin shop today or browse online listings, most regular 1999 pennies will still be worth 1 cent, but if you find a wide AM in mint state condition, you could easily be looking at values ranging between $1,000 and $3,000. In recent years, prices have remained steady and even climbed in certain cases, especially for coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, with top grades like MS67 or MS68 and with a red designation, meaning the coin still has its original bright copper red luster. These can bring in record prices. Think about it, a coin that costs just 1 cent to use at the store could actually be a hidden fortune in your pocket. This is why collectors carefully check the backs of their 1999 pennies to look for that wide AM spacing. A simple magnifying glass is all you need, and you never know what treasure might be sitting right in front of you. Now let us add a bit of historical perspective. The year 1999 was the last year of the 20th century, a year filled with excitement, technology growth, and cultural change. Coins minted in that year hold a kind of symbolic meaning as the final pennies of the 1900s that adds an extra layer of collectability for some people and for those who collect by date and type. The 1999 penny is a key part of completing a Lincoln cent collection. So to wrap things up, here is the takeaway. The 1999 1-cent coin from the United States might look ordinary, but it carries history, tradition, and in certain cases serious value. Regular coins are worth just 1 cent, but special varieties like the wide AM and error coins can bring hundreds or thousands of dollars on today's market. If you have jars of coins lying around, take the time to check them carefully because you might just have a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1999 penny and its surprising value, make sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more coin stories and money mysteries. You never know, the next video might be about a coin sitting right in your pocket.